Well, tomorrow is the beginning of mid-range, and it is an absolute just monsoon right now, so it should be an interesting day tomorrow. Thunder, lightning, the whole 9 yards. Well, it's Sunday morning. It's the first day of mid-range. This is the 600-yard line.
There's Clegg here.
Just absolutely gorgeous out here today. Really wet last night, massive thunderstorms, lightning all night, and then we woke up to this. We're heading to the pits first, then we'll come out, we'll shoot a couple relays, see what happens. Today. Now, conditions were pretty solid. Just a really nice light wind, nothing weird going on. It wasn't beginning of the morning because we were actually relay 4. So there'd been 3 relays before us. In fact, relay 1 actually took a beating from an incoming front that was still kind of pushing through. And honestly, by the time we shot that, it had kind of, just like moved on through. And it was, pretty light when we got up there. And I was really, really happy with this. Now, I'm going to tell you something that happened here. So, down here, you'll see it says 218. And in reviewing my card, I counted up the X's. And in my head, right here, where it says his initials and the 10 and X, in my head, because he had written 18, I counted up. And in my head, he had mismarked a 10 and made it an X. So I really didn't think much of it. And to be honest, I signed off on my card at 218. And I came back to actually make a video last night of this. And I looked at the card again and I said, man, I don't know about this. And I kind of looked at it closer and I showed it to a couple buddies and we all agreed. I mean, I looked at it and said, man, in retrospect, after the adrenaline of 18X and everything died down, looking at this, that was an X and he turned it into a 10, which really put me at 218X. And so this technically had me at 3rd place for this match. And at the end of the day, I actually won a medal because of it. And in fact, let me show you real quick. Hang on a second. You'll actually see this was 1st place with 219. And then this gentleman, Jim Murphy, and I both had recorded an 18. And this little asterisk means that it's called Creedmoor. It means that it means I had a 10. You count back X's, and whoever has the first 10 loses. So he obviously shot a lot more X's at the end than I did. And at the end, I received a medal. And you're actually going to see that here in a minute. But then when I got back home and counted it up, it turned out it was legitimately a 17. So, I didn't feel right about that. And even though technically the dispute time is over and, all this other stuff, it just wasn't sitting well with me. So I barely slept. I was all in knots and everything. And so we left early. We stopped by the office and I went in and talked to the office staff and I explained exactly what happened. I had them pull my card. I told them exactly, the circumstances, told them what the score should have been. They agreed, it obviously, you know, uh, was one of those things where it was just, an honest mistake. So in this particular case, there were 2 other people right here that shot 217. Now, Emil here had already Creedmored Roger, which meant Roger wasn't even a contender at 17 to be 3rd place, but Emil was. And I said, look, I really, I brought the medal with me, and I said, look, I need to know because if I wasn't the rightful winner, I need to make sure I give the medal to Emil. And so they went through, they pulled Emil's card, they pulled my card, and it did turn out that I, in fact, did Creedmoor him. I think my last 10 was shot number, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something. And he had one at shot 17 or something. So I still legitimately won 3rd place, but now I can sleep well about it and, not worry about it. So let's head back to the cards. And it's been, I don't know, I want to say about 40 minutes, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes since I shot the first relay. And first relay felt great, right? Everything was dialed in, felt fantastic. And I just botched this one. It just frustrating. Went 7 on my first sider, just, I don't know, had a weird adjustment. I thought, oh, I'll get ahead of it a little bit. Turned the dial the wrong way and just boop through a 7. Went, oh, okay, realized my mistake, came back, shot an X, went great. and then X, 10, X. I mean, like it was feeling good. I was like, great, I got this again. And I got a little too cocky and started shooting a little too fast and threw this nine out the left side. And then, um, got back on it and, settled down, kind of started taking breaths again. And then got here. And this was like a low right nine. And when those happen, that's me. That's me hitting the stock. And I know that almost 100%. And I saw that and I was like, oh, I'm like, all right, well, I know what it was. So I kind of said, well, if I just let me just slow down for the last three shots and get through this, I'll just drop two, like we'll just pull ourselves together. Well, for whatever reason, the hold wasn't good the second time, and I'd given it just a little bit more, but just lost it out the side, and that really sucked. I'm not gonna lie. Like three on a match like this is a lot, and I knew it was going to drop me considerably after that first relay. So um, I did my best, got back on and finished out with the 10 and X. But this is, good X count. Like, hey, I'm happy. 11 X's, that's great. But this 197 just, I'm not going to lie, like it was pretty crushing. And at this point, we had to go down to the pits because we had shot two relays. It was time to go to the pits, and then we pull for two relays, then we come back and shoot at the end. So, I had some time to sit in the pits and kind of think about it and mentally go over it. And I'm not gonna lie, it just wasn't easy. I was just really mad at myself and frustrated, and I was struggling to get over it. It's probably a good thing I was in the pits because it gave me time to get my mind off it and get my head straight before we came back up. Out of the pits, I shoot second, so the gentleman that's with me, he shoots first. I kind of watch him shoot. I'm watching the conditions, and this was really one of those relays where just kind of everything came together, right time, right way for me, and it felt really good. I had been watching him shoot, and the predominant condition had been a left to right, and I had honestly seen almost no right to left when he was shooting, right, this guy here, and he did okay. He dropped a couple points and stuff, and I thought, well, wow, like that should have been easier. So we get laid down, and like as we're getting into prep period, the wind switches and it starts pushing right to left, and it was a hard right to left, like it was building, and then we go and we go to live fire. We start our 22 minutes, and uh, I'm not. I just sat there and I was like, man, this is not something I want to shoot in. One, because it was pretty turbulent. Like it was building and letting off, building and letting off. It was really turbulent, and then not only that, I knew that the predominant condition should have been a left to right, and I felt pretty confident that it would come back. So I look over at my buddy shooting next to me, and he happens to look at me, and he kind of looks and he kind of smiled, and he hadn't taken a shot yet either. And then he says, do you have a timer running? I said, yeah, I got a timer running. He said, okay. And then we proceeded to spend, I don't know, it was probably a good 5 to 10 minutes just waiting. Like neither one of us took a shot. And then that right to left kept building, and it would let off a little, and then it would build, and it would let off. And then I started doubting myself. I started thinking, man, like, am I the idiot for not starting to shoot? Because it was a build, and it was an up and down, but it was probably a shootable right to left if you could get in time and get done before it switched. But I just thought, well, okay, it's too late now because I know it's going to switch, and I just got to wait it out. And honestly, 22 minutes is a ton of time. I knew how good my polars were. I knew I could shoot a whole relay in probably about 4 minutes, so I wasn't too worried. So we get somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes in, and then boom, like the wind just stops, the mirage stops, and it just like drops, and it's hard to explain unless you've seen it, but like the mirage just stopped. It wasn't a boil or anything; it just stopped, and then there was like the tiniest of boil, and then it just starts trickling left to right, and so it's just kind of waving along like this, right? And and I said, okay, well, I'm not going to get too eager. Let me make sure that this left to right's going to stick. And I said, okay, let me count to 10. Like if after 10 seconds it's still there, then we're good. So like count one, two, I get to 10, and it starts building. And I was like, all right, this is it. We're going to start running. So I throw in with a nine, came out a little bit upwind on it. I was a little too aggressive. Came in a little bit more. Apparently, I was still a little too aggressive. Came in just, I was out like maybe two and a half lines, something like that. I come in a little bit and boom, dropped the 10 on the first shot, which, this is a little sketchy. It obviously feels good to drop in on a 10. And then I just kept running. And I mean, and like, it just felt great. I played the game I wanted to. I was matching what the things were doing. It would let off a little, and I'd come in, it'd build, I'd come out. Like it just felt like a really good relay. Finished really strong with the 214, and ended up taking third on this particular match. So that was great. And just overall, just a really great way to finish, especially after that horrible second relay. So this gave me faith. Like, okay, I still got 2 days of shooting. There's still 6 matches. There's a lot of shooting left. A lot of things that could go right for me. I just need to keep my head in the game. So that's kind of how we finished it out. The day one. So this was the end of Sunday after day one, and I was down here. So one, two, three, four, five, 17th. So I was sitting here at 17th. Um, and again, only 3 points down, but you can just see like all these people stacked up, a bunch of 99s, a bunch of 98s, and then a bunch of 97s. I mean, 97s, there's like seven, eight, nine of them. So, there's, I mean, between, if you look here, even technically, so 4 points down is all of these people. So, you drop 4 points on the day, that could put you somewhere around 34th or something. So it's pretty crazy how tight the field gets. But overall, I felt really good. I took third place on this match and third place on this match, and I'll show you those award ceremonies right now. But again, overall, I was ecstatic. Like my goal was to come win at least one medal, and ended up winning two, which like it's a great way to start day one, and it kind of makes the rest of the week just feel really good. So let's take a look at that. Welcome for match one. Third place is John Naismith with a 218 extra. Second place, Jim Murphy with a 218 extra. Match three, F Open. Third place, John Naismith with a 214 extra. Second place, John Floyd, 215 extra. Day two, and this is sort of one of those things where sometimes hindsight's 2020. It's easy to look at a relay and say it's really bad. I think that's one of the hardest things that I come across personally is I think it's really easy for me to look at my own scores and kind of project it and say, well, two down just sucks. Like, now I'm five down, that must be a mile from everybody else. And, sometimes you just don't know how other people are shooting, right? So, still really happy with my X count, like 12 X's, super good. Really happy with that. In fact, up to this point, at least, I had all double-digit X counts on every relay, so that's good for me. It's kind of for as much as I shoot 600, I probably put heavier expectations on myself, but to be in double digits felt really good. And then I dropped 2 points, but man, they were the dumbest 2 points. I can't remember which one it was, but one of these I had been holding like two and a half right, and the impact came out a little bit to the right, like a right 10, and then I saw it kind of let up a little bit, and I came back in, and in my head I was like, okay, just come back a little bit, like half a line, if that much, because I knew that it was going to fall out left a little bit. And then for whatever reason, my brain went, oh, you need to come back into like one and a half. And I came back into like one and a half shot, and it went out the left side. And I was like, oh, as soon as I broke the shot, I knew what happened. And then I can't remember the other one, but all I know is when they came back from the pits, they said it took them like 30 seconds looking at the target to decide if it was a nine or a 10. It was that close. So down to, I kind of, I don't know. I just kind of said, well, I'm going to do what I can do. Like every relay is possible. I know I can clean 600 targets, and I just kind of tried to do my best with it. And then we've got relay three. So, or I'm sorry, match two. I don't know why I said relay three. Match two. So here's the second one, and all I can say is at least I was consistent. Shot a 198 with 11x this time. Uh, Again, it was just a weird relay. This was a little bit trickier relay with the wind, and it had a couple let-offs that again I just undervalued. So I got burned on them. But this is always scary. Like I went X1 on for cider here, or not one on, but X cider one, and then followed it up with a nine that was outside. And you're like, man, I thought I was really seeing what it was doing, and and again, made a correction and pulled the 10. So the two nines notwithstanding, it felt like a pretty good relay again, double digit X count, and not a bad way to finish up on this one. And this, you know, it wasn't bad. So I was feeling a little better at this point. I knew some other people. I knew it couldn't have been easy for everybody because it was definitely moving around a little bit more. So let's look at the final match. All right, this is match three, and again, I'm nothing if consistent. So my third 198 on the day. And, I kind of look at it this way. And I was talking to my buddy Chris about it. I said, I hate dropping 2 points and I hate dropping 2 points again and I hate dropping 2 points again. But at least it's consistent. Like I would much rather shoot, uh, like on this is honest truth. I would much rather shoot uh, three 198s across the board than shoot a 194 and two cleans. Um, like this just shows more control. It shows more observance of what's going on, not being lost. I mean, it's is it perfect? No, of course not. But at least it's consistent, and that felt good. So again, another strong day with the X count. And this was not an easy relay by any means. There were a lot of people that were struggling on it, and it only got worse for the two matches after us, the two relays after us on this last match. So, all right, we're going to look here now. So this is 2 days in. So now we're going to look at the combined aggregate of all six matches. Now there's still three left for tomorrow, and that's the final three. So, there's still a lot of work to do, a lot of shooting. I still got to keep my head in the game. But let's take a look and see how that is looking. So this is going to be all six matches. So day one of 1, 2, 3, day two, 1, 2, 3, and then the total grand aggregate so far. Again, we still have three relays to go. And then you notice these day one ag, day two ag. There's also awards handed out for that. And there was an incredible score. So a guy named John, not me. If you look right, where is it? Day two. Where is it? He shot an incredible score, and I don't know why it's not on here. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. He shot a 220, which is just insane. Um, it's especially in these kinds of conditions. And I don't know why it's not on here for some reason. Anyway, the gentleman just did incredibly, incredibly well. Super nice guy. Oh, John Stewart, right here. See, 220x, and he honestly would have kept going, but he didn't have any more ammo. But this is just an incredible feat. Like, I mean, really, really hard to tell you how hard that is to do. But just good consistent shooting today. I've actually worked my way up to 10th place here. There's a lot of high scores above me. There's a lot of guys that just don't make mistakes. So it's going to take me doing everything I can. I just got to go out, plan on shooting three cleans, and then letting everybody else do what they do, and that's all I can do. So, we're going to get our stuff done. We're going to get cleaned, get our guns cleaned up, and we'll head out tomorrow and see how day three and the final day shakes out. So, jumping right into it, this was a great way to start. I had really an off day, second day, dropping two, dropping two, dropping two. Just couldn't hold it together on any of those relays. And there were different reasons as I talked about already. But going into day three, I was in 10th place and just told myself I just need to shoot three cleans. So if I shoot three cleans, and it's up to everybody else how they do. And we went to the pits first. So relay one and two shot. Then we come out of the pits about an hour later. and then I'm on relay three, and then relay four shoots. So I lay down. It wasn't horrible. It was definitely a cleanable target, just moving a little bit here and there. Um, but it was still kind of unstable because the mornings are really kind of volatile on that first relay, second relay sometimes. And it was just kind of settling in. But I got lucky on a couple shots. Just clipped them right inside the 10, and they could have just as easily been nines. But finished up with a strong 211 here, and just felt really great. I just said, okay, now we just need to shoot two more cleans, and our day is over. The grand ag is over. Everything for mid range is over. And but at this point, we do shoot twice before we go back to the pit. So my partner that's next to me shoots, and then I shoot. So let's take a look. And this would have been maybe about 40 minutes later. There we go. So this was just a stupid call on my part. I held a little aggressively and just leaked it out the left. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you can't blame anybody other than yourself. And I just should have shot better. But I was still very happy. There were still a number of people who struggled on this relay and dropped a couple points, and so to only drop one, I still felt good. And I don't know if you noticed, but here I had 11 X's and here I had 10 X's. I was still keeping up my goal of having double-digit X's on every relay, as close as this was. But again, I felt honestly really good about it. I knew that it was going to keep me in the top 10, which was really my goal. And that's just kind of how it winds out. Now at this point, we go down to the pits, and we're going to be in the pits for almost 2 hours, pulling two full relays from the other people, because relay one will shoot, then two, then one shoots again, then two shoots again. So it's about 2 hours worth of being off the line before we head back up. So at this point, we go down to the pits, and here we go. This is coming out of the pits, and this is probably close to 2.5 hours, I guess. Probably 2:15, something like that. Since we had shot last time, and I will tell you, this was a whole different ball of wax. This was a pretty crazy relay because even some of the top guys really dropped a handful of points on this relay, and as much as I, of course, like everybody wants to clean it, I was super happy with the one down on this. And again, 10 X's. So I did finish out all 9 matches with double digit X's, which, thrilled me. And, at that point, you just kind of wait and see how the leaderboard shakes up. There were definitely some people who I knew were ahead of me that kind of struggled on this relay, but I didn't know exactly where they stood or anything. And then it's time to take a look at the final leaderboard. Now, this is the day 3 aggregate. All right, and you can see here I finished fourth for the day, which again I felt really great about. Um, Tracy just she shot really well and just smoked me on the aces today, and got 8 X's on top of me, and just really deserved that third place finish. And her and I were shooting next to each other, so we kept cheering each other on. And she's a fantastic person, and always fun to be around. So it was great. And then Norm, her husband, was shooting two doors down from me, and he just killed it. I mean, 218, 214, and then this gentleman, Joseph Cordero, he just slaughtered the first and second relay. I mean, 219, 218, just I mean, they were on fire. So, kudos to them on the day. And then let's see how. So we add day 3 to day 2 to day 1, and this is what we end up with. Full roster of all the matches. You can see day 1, day 1, day 1, then day 1 ag, then 2, 2, 2, day 3 ag, or day 2 ag, and then 3, 3, 3, day 3 ag, and then the grand ag aggregate over here. And, like I'm really proud of myself. I started in 17th on Monday, made it up to 10th on Tuesday. And, despite not winning or even placing in the top 3 on any of the matches for the last 2 days, I just shot really consistently. And it wasn't always the top score. But, I worked my way up here and I finished in 6th place, which, I'm honestly really ecstatic about. Jim Murphy is just, I mean, he's amazing. Tracy's amazing. Joseph's amazing. Pat, Eric, like, I mean, there's no slouches in this match. You look at the list of people below me. There are countless people down here that are just amazing shooters. And then if we look at the final score, Eric, who won, was down 6 points for 3 days. And then if you come down here, you'll see I'm right here. And I was down 11 points over 3 days and 9 matches. And I'm not gonna get upset about that. That's just over 1 point per match over 3 days of shooting, and I had a really high X count like that. I'm really proud of myself because I normally struggle to really push those X's, and I made little hedging calls here or there with the intention of really trying to drive those X's. And if you look overall, there's number one, number two, number three, number four, and then I was the fifth highest on the entire out of the entire thing as far as X count went. So I felt really good about that. Anything over 100 was an accomplishment. I finished right at about a 60%. So 60% of my shots were X's over 3 days, which, again, I'm just super excited about. It's just, um, it's really humbling to be there. Anytime I'm in the company of some of these people, these are all like I said, I mean, to be in the company of any of these people, it's just, it just makes me feel better and better. So I'm really excited. Norm was awesome, came up and, congratulated me, Jesse, Ken. I mean, all these guys are awesome, Dan. And, and so that's where I finished. So after mid-range, these are still technically the interim results. We're going to be having the actual award ceremony tomorrow. They have to do some final, verification, but I can't see anything changing on this. The protest period's over. All the scores have been tabulated, but they do have to post it at the interim result. But look, sixth out of I think there was 69, 68, there was 68 or 69 shooters to be sixth place. I'm excited. So this is a really good way to go into our mid-range team match tomorrow, and then Thursday we start long range, and I will be doing a whole nother video for that. In fact, the gentleman who came out last year or earlier this year for Southwest Nationals has his own YouTube channel and does a bunch of NRL stuff, and he's going to be coming out, and I'm going to talk with him, and he's going to be filming a number of my relays to post up for you guys to watch. So that should be super, super awesome. So anyway, thanks for following me through mid range. You guys have a good one. We'll talk later.